today? If you don't know me, my name is Becca. I'm stoked to be here because we're kicking off this brand new series called Cleared History. We're going to be focusing on the fact that Jesus came in to completely clear our history. And I'm sure that every single one of us have certain things in our life that we just wish were completely gone, that we could completely wipe out, that they absolutely never happened. And for me, that is basically all of middle school. I hated middle school, like with all my heart. It was not my jam. It was not into middle school. So if I could say that I went to middle school and have all the important school things that I need, but never have had to go to middle school, that would be great. Because there are so many things that happened, so many embarrassing moments that I just wish were completely gone. And one of those that I think it was just so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. And it was when I was in the 6th grade. So when I was in the 6th grade, I was moving schools. And before I left the school that I was currently attending, I was like, I'm leaving these people. I'm leaving this place for forever. I'm never going to see them again. You know how in middle school you're super everything's very definite. You're like, never again. And so I'm like, okay, I need to do the one thing that I haven't done since I've been here. I need to profess my love to my middle school crush. I know. And so I was nowhere near brave enough to be able to walk up to him and be like, hey boy, I like you. I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't brave enough to do that. And so instead, I decided that I was going to write a letter. I was going to write him a note. And so to this day, I still remember exactly what it said, what I wrote. And so it said, Scott, comma, I know this is awkward. Comma, but I like you, period. Signed, Becca. That's all it said. It was super, my heart was poured out into it, obviously. And in the same way that I wasn't brave enough to actually go and tell him that I liked him, I also was not brave enough to actually deliver him the letter. So what I did is, me and my friend, we got this plan where we were like, okay, well, we have softball practice the same time they have basketball practice, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to sneak the note in his bag when they're running suicides or something. And I was like, okay, cool. And so we're like, all right, we're standing at the door to the gym. We're just watching through the door, through the little window in the door, total creepers. It was great. We're watching, and we're like, okay, they're running, they're still running. Okay, they're running. Okay, we're gonna go now. And so we run in, we drop the note into his bag, and we run out. I'm like, okay. Your heart starts doing the thing. You start getting freaked out. You're like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen. But I'm praying, Lord Jesus. Okay, let's go. Okay. And so we're watching through the window, and they're running because they're running suicides. And oh my gosh, you're basically dead by the time you're done with suicides. That's why they call them that. So you're watching through the window, and then he walks over to his bag. He grabs his water bottle. He's like, oh my God, this is great water. And so he drinks his water, and then he looks down. This is my inner monologue for him. And so he looks down at his bag, and he's like, what? That wasn't there before? He picks up the note. He said, oh man, Scott with a heart. That's great. And he opens the letter, and he reads it. And it's in that situation, you're expecting oh my gosh, really? The super excited, but it was literally puts it back in his bag and walks away back to practice. And I was like, it's fine. I was hurt. I was a little hurt, but I was like, okay, Jesus still loves me. Scott doesn't love me, but Jesus loves me. We're good. And so I got over it. I moved on, and I went to softball practice. And when I get to softball practice, I'm getting my cleats on. I'm getting all settled. And then I start to hear yelling, coming from way back. I was here at the dugout. I hear yelling from over here. I turn, and my friend who helped me to get the note to this guy, she's hauling booty down the road, and she has her hand up in the air, and she's like, I got the note! My friend went back into the gym, snuck into the boy's bag, took it, and ran, because she was like, I don't want him to have the note because he hurt you. And I was like, not really, but okay. And so I was equally thankful and embarrassed at the same time, because great, he doesn't have the note anymore, but
Now I'm having to explain to my coach and to my friends, what notes? Ooh, what did it say? Ooh, okay, aha. And it's like, ugh. So if I had the ability to completely clear that from my history, from my past, I would love to do that. That would be incredible. But we can't do that, unfortunately. That is just not how life works. We are not able just to clear things completely out of our history, no matter how embarrassing. And you guys might be in that spot where you're like, man, this crazy embarrassing thing happened, and I want nothing more for it to be gone. Or maybe you're in a spot where you're like, man, I did something so stupid. You were with your friends, you made a decision, you're like, that was so stupid, and you end up getting in trouble with your parents, maybe you get grounded, something like that, and you're like, man, if I could just clear that from my history, if that was just gone, then I'd be great. That'd be awesome. Or maybe it's something deeper where you look at your family situation, and you look at the fact that your parents got a divorce, or that one of your parents was abusive or wasn't there in your life. And you look at it and you say, man, if this was not a part of my history, if I could just clear this out, I would be off. I'd be so much better. I'd be so much better if this was gone. Maybe you have something where it was a decision you made that you've never told anybody about. It is something that you get down on yourself about it, that you feel ashamed about it, that you wish with every single fiber of your being that you had not done that. But you did. And now you are wishing that you could cut that out of your life, that you did not have to have that be a part of your history. But like I said before, that's not how life works. We are not able just to cut things out of our life. We have to learn to deal with them. We have to be able to face our history. And even in just facing it, we have to be able to find the good in it. We have to be able to find the hope that can be found in our history. Because you guys, you are not defined by your history. You are not defined by every single bad choice that you have ever made. That is not the way that you are defined. And there is such a cool person in the Bible who he had a situation, he had things that he did in his life that were so much worse and so much more terrible than anything you could ever do. Like, this dude is like 1,000,000 times more screwed up than any of you could possibly be. And that dude, his name is Paul. At the start of the story, his name is Saul. Now, you might be thinking, no, there's no way that this person could be worse than me. I mean, he's in the Bible, for goodness sakes. Like, seriously, he has to be a little bit better than me. But no, he's not. Saul was someone who literally got paid to kill Christians. Literally got paid to kill Christians. People would be like, hey, there's a dude preaching in the street. What do you want us to do with him? He'd be like, hey, we're going to stone him today. Or he'd be like, okay, Christian over there talking about Jesus, he's going to prison. He was paid to kill Christians, to put them in prison. That was his goal, was to get rid of Christians. Nothing that you guys have done in your life has been that bad. Don't worry. Don't worry. But Paul, Saul, still Saul, he had this encounter with God. He had this incredible experience with God where he literally, God came and spoke to him. He blinded him because he was standing in his glory. He was so, like, he was taken to his knees in front of God. And God was like, this needs to stop. Why are you hurting my people? Why are you hurting me? And Saul had a complete turnaround in his life. He saw how good and how great and how crazy awesome this God was. And he made the decision that this is the God that I'm going to follow. The God of these Christians that I've been killing for so long, that is the God that I want to follow. And so God, he changed his name from Saul to Paul. And then Paul, he set out to tell everybody he could about Jesus, about the good things that he had done. And a big part of Paul's ministry was actually going and writing letters to churches. He would write these letters to the churches to encourage them, to let them know that he was praying for them, that he could not wait to meet them, that they were doing great things, that if they would just tweak this, maybe they'd be even better. He was constantly writing these letters. And you see, he at one point, he wrote letters to this place called Rome, where the Romans lived. And Paul himself was actually a Roman citizen. So he was someone who was well known by the people in that city. But that also means that these people, they knew his history. They knew who he was. They knew the things that he had done. And he was coming into this place saying, hey, I want to tell people about Jesus. I want to be able to share the gospel. Will you guys help me? And the Romans are left like, what? Like, dude was just killing Christians, stoning them, putting them in prison like 2 weeks ago, and now he's here telling us he wants to go and tell people about Jesus? Like, that would be pretty much the same thing if you had, like, just think of, like, the person in your life, like, at your school, wherever, that they're terrible to you. They're mean. They're constantly cutting you down. Maybe there's someone in your past that hurt you. Just someone that you cannot stand. They were just awful. And they're coming back to you and they're saying, hey, I found Jesus and I want to be your friend. And I want you to be able to kind of like forget the things that I did. Yeah, it'd be great. No. Like, I would have the hardest time. Like, if someone were to like, I think of like someone in high school. I knew her in high school and in middle school. I hated this girl. If she came and she said that to me, nope, that would not happen. And that's the position that the Romans were in right now. They were saying, man, we've seen Paul or Saul, like, I don't know who he is anymore, being able to do these things. He's doing all these things, and now he's wanting to tell people about Jesus. Paul was having to work through his past. He was having to bring to people and say, I am not that person anymore. And that can be a really difficult thing. I know there are things that I've done that people might have known me for in my past, and then to come and to see them now and having to convince them that I am not that person anymore. And I'm sure a lot of you have had to do that as well, telling people that this is not who I am anymore. I was that way once, but I am now this person. And that is such an incredible thing, because that just shows the hope that you can find inside of your history. You see, Paul was able to do this. He was able to show that in his life and in the lives of other people inside of the Bible, that there's hope that can be found in your history. You see, in Romans 15:4, it kind of talks about that, how the things of the past were written so we could find hope. It says, for everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through the endurance taught in the scriptures and the encouragement they provide, we might have hope. History gives us hope. That's you guys' first fill-in. History gives us hope. You see, I love this because, man, the fact that we're able to actually have hope in the things that we've been through, the things that we've experienced, the things that we've done, that is huge because, man, if you're able to look at things that have happened in your past and be able to say, man, God brought me through that, or I'm so much stronger now than I ever was back then. There are so many things that you guys have been able to go through and be able to push through that you are so much stronger now than you ever could have been back then. That is the hope that comes from your history. It can be big things like that, but it can also be the really simple things. Like for me, my history, it gives me hope that maybe I'm a little more fashionable now than I was in the past. Because, man, freshman year, any of you guys have like that super like awesome outfit that you picked out for first day of school and you're hype about that outfit. You're like, oh man, I'm looking good. You're stoked about it. That's how I was my freshman year of high school. But looking back now, it was not in the slightest bit at all good. I wore, first day freshman year, so proud of this, I wore bright pink skinny jeans. Ooh, bright pink skinny jeans. I wore black and pink floral Doc Marten boots. Different pinks, though. There were different pinks between the boots and the pants. It's not good. Then I wore a T-shirt with cold shoulders. The cold shoulder. Guys, that's the one where it's just literally like cut out. Doesn't make any sense. And it said, I love rock and roll. Then I had a cropped leather jacket that probably had like some kind of like heart or cross or something on it because I got it from Forever 21. And then my hair was jet black. Like, oof. I looked like a ghost, you guys. It was bad. Like, all you girls that are able to wear the dark black hair, I can't do that. It's so nice. But my history is able to show me that I am more fashionable then. I'm more fashionable than I was before, which is great. But that is the hope that continues to be able to be present in each and every single one of your lives. Because you guys will never lose that hope that you have. Because once it's there, it's not going away. And it's going to be present today and tomorrow and into your future. You see in Proverbs 23:18, it says, there is surely a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. That hope is going to be present in your life. But a lot of it kind of depends on how you deal with things. Because you can deal with the current things in your life, you can deal with your past, but there are still some routes that people like to take when it comes to their history, when it comes to their past. They can kind of make them waver on their hope sometimes. The first is simply running from your past. So often people, they have things that they've experienced, that they've gone through, that maybe people have done to them, that they look at and they say, I do not want to touch that. I do not want to deal with that because it was too hard. It was too difficult. It hurt too much. And they just completely run from their past. But that isn't a healthy thing to do, you guys. When you're running from your past, when you're constantly going in the opposite direction and not dealing with it, then it's going to build up and build up and build up and build up until you explode because you haven't talked about it. You haven't dealt with it. You need to be able to deal with your history. Another thing that people like to do is they like to use their past or their history, they like to use it as an excuse. They like to say, well, because I went through this, because I went through that, because I made that decision, I am the way that I am. Because this person hurt me, because this person took advantage of me, because of that, because of my past, my history, I don't matter anymore. I'm not worth anything because that person hurt me. It changes the way that they view themselves. It can be, I react this way. I can't trust people because one person in my past made me believe that I couldn't trust anybody. But you guys, that is not how that works either. Because you see, you're all going to go through difficult things. But using it as a crutch, using it as an excuse for the way that you react to things, that's not the way that it should be, because then that's you saying that that still holds power over you, that it still has a grip on you. And you guys, you serve a God who is so much bigger than anything you could have possibly faced in your life. He is so much bigger than that person who took advantage of you. He is so much bigger than your parents' divorce. He is so much bigger than anything that could have possibly ever held you down. So that is why you need to face your history. You need to deal with it. You can't use it as an excuse, and you need to find a place that you can actually learn from it. And you see, I found this movie clip that I think just does a really cool job of being able to show what it's like to actually deal with your history. So go ahead and check this out real quick.
What was that? The weather. Very peculiar, don't you think?
Yeah. Looks like the winds are changing.
Change is good.
Yeah, but it's not easy. I know what I have to do, but going back means I'll have to face my past. I've been running from it for so long. Ow! Jeez, what was that for?
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Yeah, but it still hurts.
Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. You see? So what are you going to do?
First, I'm gonna take your stick.
No, not a stick. Hey, where are you going?
I'm going back!
Good! Go on! Get out of here!
I love that movie. You guys love that movie? It's so good. It's so good. I'm really scared for the remake that they're doing, the live action one, because I don't want them to ruin it, but I'm still excited. But no, I love this movie because it really does. It paints such a cool picture of what it's like to actually face your history. Simba spent his entire life running from the things of his past, and it wasn't until Rafiki actually beat the sense into him, was like, yeah. That wasn't light though, you guys. That was sometimes we need that, don't we? We sometimes need that mentor, that parent to actually knock some sense into us. But he was able to show him that you can either run from your history, run from your past, or you can learn from it. And that's the same choice that you guys have. You can either run from your history, or you can learn from your history. And you see, you guys, this is always going to be a choice that is completely up to you. Even though you have come through really difficult things in your past and in your history, there's still going to be difficult things that you face in your future. There are going to be things that you face when you go to college, when you get married and have kids, when you get old. There are going to be so many things that you face that are going to become your past, and you have to figure out how you are going to handle it. Because if you spend your entire life running, that's going to be exhausting. You're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to regret so many things because you spent it all running away. But what if you actually took the things that you've been through, the difficulties that you've faced, your history, and you learned from it? You learned from it. You were able to see, man, I am stronger. I am more capable. I am able to do so much more than I ever imagined because I learned from the things that I went through. You guys have that choice. You have the choice to decide if you are going to run from your past or if you are going to learn from it. And if you're still in a place where you're kind of questioning this, where you're not really knowing, that you're thinking that you are still defined by your history, by your past, by the bad decisions that you have made, I want you to know that Jesus, that God, he does not see you that way. God doesn't look at you and he doesn't see your brokenness. He doesn't see how messed up you are. He doesn't see the bad decision that you made that one night. He doesn't see the times that you've said something that you regretted, that you did something you regretted. He does not see that. Whenever Jesus died on the cross for your sins, it made it so God sees us the way that he sees Jesus, that he sees Jesus' perfection, that he sees his holiness, that he sees his righteousness, his goodness. That is what he sees. And that is the reason that he was so willing to die on the cross for you, because he knows everything that you are capable of. He loves you more than anything here on this earth. And he wants so badly for not only you to step into a relationship with him, but for you to begin seeing yourself the way that he does. Because so often we spend our time blaming ourselves and looking at ourselves only through the lens of the mistakes that we've made. And that is heartbreaking. That is heavy. That is not something that anybody should have to experience. Because I've spent too much of my life doing that. And it isn't anything that I would wish on any of you, because of how much it hurts. But I want you to know that Jesus wants you to see him the way that he sees you. He wants you to be able to lean on him and to begin knowing him the way that he knows you. So right now, I know that there might be some of you who have never begun that relationship with Jesus, and I want to just have the opportunity for you to do that. So I could have every head bowed, every eye closed. And if you're here in this place tonight, I just want to give you that opportunity. The opportunity to know the God that loves you more than anything. And all you have to do to be able to know him is just to talk to him. All you have to do is just to lean into him, to allow him to take all your brokenness, all the messed up things that you've done, all the pain, all the hurt. He wants to be able to take that away from you. And he wants to be able to wrap you up in his love, because he loves you more than anything. But you have to make that choice, you guys. You have to make that choice here in this place tonight. Ask him to come into your life. Talk to him in the silence of your heart. Ask him to come into your life to cover you, because you know that a life with him is so much better than a life without him. Even if that means that you're still going to face some difficulties, you can know and you can trust that he is going to be there, that he is going to be present in your life if you just allow him to be. Now, if that was something that you spoke to God, that you asked him, that you prayed to him, you guys can go ahead and look up. That is the greatest thing that you guys could have ever done, because it is allowing God to be a part of your mess, and it's allowing him to be that guiding light in your life. And if that's a choice that you made, you're completely able to come and talk to one of us mentors. Come talk to me. Come talk to someone. But if not, if you would just like to text in to 62953, you can text the word BEGIN, and we will get in contact with you. We'll get you a Bible, be able to just kind of talk you through what it means to have begun a relationship with Christ.